Ready. Play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from, in whichever part of the world. I guess if it is the morning, it is Australia or some parts of Asia. And maybe the tennis world feels quite far away right now in terms of the fact that we're getting all the lovely stuff in Europe. It's our time. We've got up in the middle of the night to watch various bits of tennis in Australia in particular, and to a lesser extent, I guess in Asia. In fact, the Asian tournament's actually quite Euro friendly. But now we're in Europe. We'll be here until, I guess, August or July, basically, for one reason or another. And we've got action thick and fast. Damian, it's 48 hours since we spoke. Give me some brief thoughts on the last 48 hours in Madrid.
I guess again we need to talk about the fact that people have been criticizing this event for feeling like, I don't know, bloated in a way, where there's pretty much not that much. Well, there's a lot of action happening, and I think maybe the diehard fans have been okay with it. Again, I have to make my point that watching so many challengers, I don't really feel the same sort of issues that people do, but clearly there's been some sort of distaste in the fact that people see that there's no top seeds yet. For example, today there I saw a lot of comments about the ATP slate of matches just being challengerish, or just weaker than they would usually expect. In a way, I'm not really sure I agree. I mean, it's essentially Indian Wells and Miami, right? Like that's what you're gonna get in the opening round. Who do you want to see in the opening round of the ATP event? Of course, today the first batch of seeds came in on the women's side. So I'm not sure I get these criticisms, but certainly that they've been there. Also, another thing that I actually can agree with, that definitely resonates with me, was the the lighting, the way the sun, the shadows really hamper enjoyment sometimes on the TV stream. You've been definitely in a much better position to watch the tennis in Madrid. I think the sun, while
But
it
it was
may cause other issues for you,
It was
you probably haven't
today,
seen.
but it was today the shadow. I don't know why, but perhaps because I was watching matches earlier in the day. It was today's Andy Murray match, I thought, in particular. But it's also something we've been talking about for a couple of years now, right?
I mean, yeah, it's not the only event. It's a problem at, right?
A couple of events, but Madrid is it not more famous than the others?
It is, I guess, mostly because of the sort of indoorish, right? The climate. I guess it's maybe just more seen there, or something like Halle, which is very similar.
Yeah, right. Where is it Halle or I always remember a football pitch years ago, somewhere. I think it was Mexico City, where in the middle of the pitch was what appeared to be some kind of mysterious kind of shadow that was like a ball, but with spikes coming out of it, which looked like it was coming from outer space. But it was also more or less the exact circle that Diego Maradona does a lovely little spin on as he turns around and then runs past about 8 English defenders before scoring. And this sort of spider on a ball kind of shadow dominated that World Cup, but it actually became kind of cool in a way. But I don't think it affected the viewers in the same way that the shadow does in Madrid. And like I say, today was the first day. Hi, Brian. Great to have you on board, by the way. I'm not. I think he's trying to. That's a good, very quick emoji that he's plucked there, because that is pretty much how that image did look on the pitch of the Azteca Stadium in Madrid. Sorry, in Mexico City. Oh, don't get those two confused. But this has been a topic for quite a while, Damian, regarding the shadow in Madrid. What I would say, though, is the other one. That sounds a bit elitist, no, to be kind of complaining about some of the matches and levels. And right now, we've got on the men's side, but to some extent on the women's side, we've got some big names bumbling around 50 to 100 to 150 in the world. And when I say big names, I mean Grand Slam winners that are still big draws, i.e., Leylah Fernandez, Grand Slam finalist, i.e. Dominic Thiem and Andy Murray, which plus a few home favourites, plus a few home unknowns, plus a teenager who's upsetting the apple cart. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm here in the thick of it. Maybe I'm getting a different perspective to those on social media.
Yeah, Ghosty also said indoorish and a question mark. I guess what I just meant was that while they are outdoors, a lot of the stands are covered with a roof, even though the event is actually outdoors. That's how it is in Halle, especially, but in Madrid as well. So there is a bit of an indoorish vibe. I think Halle is even worse in that. Like there's just that little room for the sun, and you really wouldn't say that it's an outdoor event, but technically it is.
But it's kind of too late now. I mean, I don't know how they can fix the issue.
Probably can't really. Maybe other camera angles, could work or something like that. But I don't know. Not, it is an issue, of course, in the middle of the day, but I'm always a little less just angry at it than most people are. I don't know. Maybe I'm just so used to watching tennis on like poor quality streams that I'm already used to sitting like that in front of the screen. And
you're talking about the Challenger streams, right?
Yeah, like Challenger streams definitely aren't HD quality or anything like that. Sometimes you're watching like Challenger streams are still, at least you have the the guarantee that they're going to be watchable most of the time, but especially when you're trying to watch like ATP qualifying or something like that, which there's no official streaming whatsoever, then sometimes these unofficial ways can be just absolutely impossible, like to track the ball. And I guess I'm just maybe used to just not being able to see the ball while watching tennis, which is not a good thing.
No. By the way, maybe one or two of the players weren't able to see the ball today. I mean, Andy Murray in particular. I will start with him in 2 seconds. But before we do, I want to just show you, maybe this is what they're using on the challenge. This is one of my gizmos. I would say I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. Mostly hate, actually, more than love. This is the thing that sort of holds the camera in a position where I can actually conduct an interview, if you like. Sometimes I'm holding it as well, but most of the time I'll find a chair of some sort. Perhaps even my streams, etc., and videos, which can be much maligned and understandably so, are still slightly better than the Challenger streams. I see these little cameras sometimes at Challenger events, or certainly did earlier on this year, and I am wondering, I'm not surprised that the quality isn't great, but at least we get to see them for free, I guess. Okay, I said we're going to talk about Andy Murray. We'll start with ATP, and we'll start with Andy Murray, who has won a few Grand Slams, but he's actually now on a run of 3 defeats in a row. Damian, did you see some of those missed volleys from him today?
I mean, these are just like a couple of points, right? Like in the grand scheme of things,
I know, but
does that really matter?
No, I agree, Damian. Listen, he could save those match points, and he could win one of those points that we just mentioned, and he could go on to win the match. And it doesn't make a big difference. But what we do see is that the 3 results as a collective mean something. At least they mean something for now.
What's the third? I mean, I know the 2 clay ones that you're talking about.
He lost in the first round. Arguably, the worst one was in Miami when he lost in the first round there in straight sets as well.
I mean, yeah, okay, because it wasn't on clay, but
exactly,
definitely just the way he played against both De Minaur and Vavasori, especially in the opening set, of course, when he was just an absolute mess, and the same with De Minaur in Monte Carlo. As you said, we actually talked about this match like 48 hours before this stream, so I remember saying that like I understand why people would think that this is a pretty close match, Vavasori against Murray, because, well, for one thing, Vavasori, if you look at how Murray performed in Madrid last year, you would want to say, okay, Murray should be a bigger favorite than this. But when you think about how he played against De Minaur in Monte Carlo, Yeah, you're actually going to trend the other way around. So yeah, today it was actually more of the Miller match. I would say definitely more of that than the matches he played in Monte Carlo last year, which it wasn't his peak clay form, definitely not, but it was still so much better. And Ashley is asking, is Andy scheduled to play Rome? Absolutely. And after Rome, he is also supposed to play a challenger in Bordeaux, and then of course Roland Garros.
Yeah. I'm not sure that he'll play the Challenger or Roland Garros. I was thinking about this quite a lot on my way home today about his schedule. To be honest with you, I was at the press conference he gave after the match, very shortly after the match, by the way. It's interesting that at least he did a press conference. Not everyone does one in defeat. Certainly not in the early rounds. I know later on there's a bit of a pressure to do so, and certainly the Grand Slams, it's pretty much done. But I've now witnessed quite a few tournaments where basically if you lose, maybe there's going to be no press conference. He did show up, which is good for him, but it was 14, I think, minutes, maybe 15 minutes after he finished the match. So I think he probably wanted to get it over and done with. Regarding his schedule, I unfortunately couldn't get a word in edgeways at the press conference. I say a word in edgeways. We were only 10 people probably at the press conference, but there's a pecking order, and I'm clearly lower down that pecking order at the moment. But he did talk about his schedule a lot. And regarding his answers, he said his team is divided on where to go from here in terms of the clay court season. As you say, he's scheduled to play Rome and a challenger before Paris. I just started after the press conference. You still didn't know, because he said that basically he'd like to play it because it would give him one more chance. It's probably the last time that he would play the French Open. But I don't know if that's a strong enough argument to play it, if you like. We remember a very different scenario, but Roger Federer playing the French Open in 2021. Damian, do you think that Roger Federer decision was a good decision regarding Wimbledon?
Of course, I mean, 100%. And I generally think that when it comes to Federer, at least, we saw that when he skipped clay altogether in, 2017, maybe it was okay. 2018, not necessarily. And I think clay, even if you lose on it like a few matches, it still allows you to build your physicality quite well. Like this is going to help you on the grass and on the hard courts. It might not be, these conditions might be very different. Physicality might not be the most important thing there, but it's still going to help you. And I think, you used Federer as an example, and I think especially in 2018 you could kind of see the fact that just not playing for 3 months is maybe not the strongest of ideas. And then in 2019, of course, he won Wimbledon. I'm not saying. Let's say both Djokovic and Federer won Wimbledon. One actually took the title. The other, put himself in the position to. But I generally thought that year that the reason why he looked so strong again was basically the fact that he didn't just disappear off planet Earth for 3 months, and he actually built up some stamina, fitness. You said 2021, he was just coming back. Of course, he needed just the match practice. He needed some sort of rhythm. He ended up pulling out a controversial move, of course, before the Berrettini match, because yeah, you could really tell that he wasn't gonna play Djokovic in the quarters anyway. Like even if you like Berrettini, right? So this was a controversial move for sure, but in a way, he kind of got everything he wanted out of that French Open. Got 3 matches under his belt, and that was really it. So yeah, I think it was a good decision because at the time, it was simply what he needed.
There were plenty of comments and questions in the live chat, which I really want you to address. But before I do so, is there an argument regarding Roger Federer in 2021, and it is relevant to Andy Murray in 2023, that if Roger Federer had 10 elite 4-5 set matches, 3-4-5 set matches, if you like, in terms of Grand Slams at least, if he had 10 in his locker, in his in his fuel tank, physical fuel tank, if you like, did he not use up 3 or 4 of those, or 3 of those at least, in Paris? And therefore, let's just say he didn't play the French Open that year in 2021. would he maybe have had a bit more in his tank regarding that Hurkacz match?
No, I definitely don't think so. I mean, if you just think about the French, and how he came into that Roland Garros, when he played one event in March, right, in Doha, and then lost to Andujar in Geneva. So then he would be just entering Halle, Wimbledon. Halle, he was of course just blown out by Felix. So I don't think so. I mean, I think the whole reason why he even went to the quarters was the fact that he played, the matches at the French. And
Okay.
I saw Ghosty was like asking, "Can you explain that a little more?" I just mean in terms of the fitness and stamina and like just building yourself for building your body up for another part of the season where maybe physicality isn't going to be the most important thing, but it's still going to help you. And yeah, just disappearing for 3 months, it's not easy to get back after such a long period of time. We even saw it with, I don't know, Djokovic last year when he was out for some time, not necessarily because he wanted it, right, but because he wasn't allowed to play in some events, and then it was never really that easy to get back, just instantly into it. And even though maybe there weren't any glaring physical issues, at least at first. So yeah, I just think it was really important for Federer in these last 3 years to just get at least a few matches at the not necessarily at the French. It could have been Madrid, Rome. I don't care. Like just have anything, do anything on clay, and not just disappear and train for the grass. And I think the sort of contrast between his 2018 and 2019 grass seasons were definitely what like encapsulated this best for me. Maybe he was struggling a bit in like Madrid, Rome, on clay. He still had very good results, right? Especially in Madrid, he was very close to beating Team. In Rome, he almost lost to Chorich. But still, they were just very good physical workouts that I think allowed him to build up some amazing form for Wimbledon. And probably the same with probably the same with Murray. I think just getting a few matches in could really help him. Then again, maybe there's that sort of a mental aspect, right? Like if he loses 5 matches like this, the Minor Vavasori, he's not really gonna be too happy about it, and he's maybe he loses some momentum in turn. So I don't know. We'll see. I still expect to see him at the French, and I think that argument of playing it once more is actually pretty solid. Like he knows his career is more or less coming to an end, as he said. It's probably going to be his last time there, even if he's going to be playing next year. So I would try to do that. Kyrgios made the final at Wimbledon last year after skipping a bunch of tournaments. I mean, I'm not saying it's not impossible, right? Especially with Kyrgios, who doesn't really seem to go by any rules. Just think it's generally much better. But before
Damien, we see a
Wimbledon,
lot of. Go on.
No, I just wanted to say that before Wimbledon, he still played like 3 consecutive weeks of grass court tennis. So. I know he barely played clay, only one event, I think, but still.
We see a lot of players, of course, I'm thinking of Novak and Rafa in particular, but we do see a lot of players that are barely playing any, in fact, 0 grass court tournaments before Wimbledon. They just go in and, you've got 3 matches to get yourself going. And I know that Novak and Rafa are exceptional in this situation, but I don't know. I mean, you've make a very good argument, Damien, but and it's not an argument necessarily for the likelihood of Murray playing the French, but you're certainly making an argument if you were on his team that you would be suggesting why not. I don't know. I hummed and hawed about this for 45 minutes on the way home today, and I just decided that I thought maybe he's going to skip it. The argument for putting him in the best possible position, which he also highlighted during the press conference, the argument for putting him in the best possible position to go further at Wimbledon, in his eyes at least, I would think is stronger than the opportunity to say goodbye to the French Open, if you like. I also think that his Wimbledon chances could be enhanced by a couple of good performances in Paris and going out in the 3rd round, for example.
What are we even
Well,
talking about? Like enhanced? What do we mean? Because with Federer, it was always like, he wants to win it, and with Murray, like, what are we even talking about? Like,
oh,
third round is
I'm not
already a good
saying
result.
I'm
Third
not
round is
saying
already a
that
good result, right?
I'm not saying that Andy Murray is a contender to win
Yeah,
Wimbledon,
I
but
know. I'm just more or less like asking what would even a good result for Murray at Wimbledon be? I guess my expectations
every
are
single
lower.
victory. Every single victory. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
listen, if you said to me, do you understand the logic behind him skipping the French and him getting to the fourth round or the quarterfinals at Wimbledon becoming a more distinct possibility than playing the French and hindering that possibility? Do I understand that logic? Yes, I do.
yeah, it depends if we believe that the French Open would be hindering that possibility at all.
Hmm.
I don't know. I guess
But
it's
there's an
really just a
argument, and I
yeah. It's a
understand.
matter of opinion, I guess, and even Murray probably doesn't know it.
I don't
No,
think he
no one really
does.
knows what's gonna happen, right? I mean, if he bombs out in the first week of the French, which would I mean, it would 99% happen, right? He can still start with a grass challenger even in the second week of the French. Get even more playtime on the grass. He played a grass challenger last year. I mean, what's the what are you laughing about?
I'm laughing at your statistical scenario of it's 99% sure that he bombs out in the first week. I'm sure if we put all the mathematical bots together, it would be slightly better than 1% chance.
That he lives towards the second week of the French?
I mean,
I
you're
don't
right,
know.
but better than 1%? Yeah. I mean, are you saying to me, oh, maybe. I mean, even if it's 2%, you're way off. That's what I'm saying. Even if it's 2%, you're 100% off. I
You know,
think if that's how that works. Um, I know what you mean. It's a very very slim chance. We've spent the best part of 20 minutes talking about Andy Murray. I just want to finish on the volleys. I saw a comment. I think it was from Brian about his 7-year-old would have made that. There was a volley at the net that he missed. I think it was at 6-all in the tiebreak. And in fact, Andy Murray did say in the press conference, he said to a journalist from the Daily Telegraph, I forget his name now, but anyway, he said you would have made that. No disrespect to your tennis level. And I said exactly the same thing when I saw it. I didn't say it about this particular journalist, but I said it in general. I said it to the guy next to me actually who was watching the match. I said you would have made that. I don't care how good or bad you are at tennis, because you just got to do that. And I unfortunately didn't get out to ask him a question, but I do wonder if that was playing on his mind when he has another fairly routine volley just seconds later on match point. And anyway, Andy Murray is out of Madrid. We can move on to some other people that have gone out. Let's stick to the ATP side, though. I don't want to get confused between the two. Any other big names on the ATP side that you, Damian, would have thought would have... Wawrinka went through yesterday against Cressy. I don't know if you caught any of that. I thought it was a really interesting match. Interesting in the... I'm not even going to say purist. It was very serve dominated. Even Wawrinka was doing serve bombs, which perhaps says a lot about the conditions. Am I being a bit harsh on the Wawrinka serve there?
No, I think you are. Yeah, back in the day,
Is it?
it was definitely a huge weapon.
And it was a
And
weapon yesterday for sure. I mean, by the way, there was 2 tiebreaks out of 3. We know Cressy's ability. We know, but Wawrinka couldn't pass Cressy at the net.
well, I did not see that much of it. I remember the stats for sure, where I remember Wawrinka was out acing Cressy, but yeah, Cressy is just such a weird beast on clay, right? We always expect him to lose every single match, but it's not like he does. I mean, from time to time he pulls off a win, and was super close to getting another one. But yeah, just did not do it. I think he was also up a mini break in the third set tiebreaker, right? So
He was, yeah,
quite
quite
close.
early. But there wasn't even, I think Wawrinka didn't have a break point until midway through the second set, and that's when he actually broke, or maybe beginning to middle of. But I think that's quite normal against somebody who I think they've never played before as well. Against someone that
Probably
maybe you're
not.
not that familiar with, it might take you a while to get into their serve a bit. I think that's the first time they've played. Because I was quite keen to ask Stan if I had the chance to about what it was like to play against Cressy and all the rest of it. But no, it was a really intriguing match. Maybe not enthralling just because of the lack of break point opportunities. I always think a real, an enthralling match is one where whether there's breaks of serve or not, every single serve is under threat. And I'm thinking of Sinner Alcaraz in particular over the last couple of years. And of course, none more so than in New York. Our good friend Benoit Paire fell to Arnaldi. I know we had a brief spot on Arnaldi the day because he beat Struff, right? In qualifying.
Arnaldi beat Struff? No, Karatsev beat Struff. Arnaldi beat Fields in the final qualifying round.
Sorry, yeah. Anyway, Arnaldi's now going to be playing Casper Ruud. We'll be coming to Jan-Lennard Struff in a minute because he did get a mention in my title. Kokinakis going out to Munar. I mean, that was kind of 50-50 in some ways, but maybe you'd expect Munar on clay to emerge. The victor there.
Hanfman to beat Musetti. Remember?
You think, yes!
I keep going
a couple of days ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, of course, I'm not saying that he's the favorite or something, but yeah, I just think in these conditions he has a very, very good shot. And I stand by this. I have some later in the WTA section. I have some things that I will have to sort of eat my words on, but for now,
really? I can't think what they might be right now. But we'll come to it. We'll keep that. Keep your powder dry.
Apparently, you also have some things like that. According to Ghosty,
do I?
Or yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. Let's have a quick look. I haven't seen it. Ask Jamie. Oh, I see. I guess I went for Jarry over Safiullin in my predictions. Yes, I'm guessing
you must
that's
have
what
said
it is.
Something, right? You must have said something more because, well,
I went. Listen, with my depending on how much of a rush I'm in, depends on, and I was in a real rush to do my men's predictions because I think there was like an 11 a.m. deadline and it was like 10 to 11 when I started recording, and I was worried that the tennis app would not allow me to finish it. So basically, normally I'll sort of give a 30-second reasoning behind it, but as I went beyond the first round, I started just saying Jarry to beat Safiullin. Jarry, of course, won in Chile early this year, and then I just quickly skipped over. So I'm guessing that's all it is. Yeah, Damian is pretty brutal, Ghosty. But if you didn't know that by now, I'm sure you haven't been paying attention. By the way, Ghosty's a member, and I've got some more members-only stuff coming shortly with an interview with Coco Gauff. And there's been plenty of members-only stuff already this week, and there'll be plenty more. So click the join button, and you can become a member too. By the way, good win for her catch over Bai. Thought that was a really good win, didn't you?
Yeah, Bai has a terrible record this year.
Bai has a 0 and 1,000 record, I think, at the moment, which is, even by my standards, is pretty impressive. Listen, when I got a message today saying that Gasquet was available, not me personally, but was available for journalists to speak to, I was like, oh, that's good that he got a win under his belt. Because I like Gasquet, but maybe I shouldn't have been that surprised over Landalusa.
Yeah, did we talk about it? No, we didn't. We weren't talking about the wild cards. I keep mixing up like where I talked about something and where I talked about something else. I definitely had a show sometime not long ago where I talked about Landalusa Gasquet. Certainly quite early for the 2021 US Open Boys Singles. 2022 US Open Boys Singles Champ. I thought that maybe the Madrid conditions are going to be pretty good actually for him. He's slow. He's just insanely slow. He's like a turtle. He's like a snail. But when he actually is in position to hit a ball, he has some nice quality. But kind of disappointed with the fact that he only won 3 games in that sense. But it makes sense. He hasn't really been getting many results. I think very recently picked up his first challenger major win against who was it? Maybe Josef Kovalik. And that still might be his only, I think.
So okay, so I see it's up on the screen now. Ghosty's there, but Ghosty, I put myself on a pedestal on a regular basis, and occasionally I will get shot down. And Tommy Paul shot down Jarry, but I still think the reasoning stands behind Jarry winning that match. But there we go. Your man is through, and that's good news for him and for you too. Looking forward to an all-Spanish
And
event
he's
as
not
well.
through yet, right? Because that was about the second round that
Oh, I
you,
see. Yes, I'm getting confused. My goodness
yeah,
me, it's 10 o'clock.
Safiullin to
Yes, it's
Jari,
because I had
and you said
Shari
that
winning
Jari would
over
win, and
Safiullin.
then Jari
Yeah,
over Paul you had, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, I had Shari getting to the third round. Yes, dearie me. Okay. Oh, by the way, Holger Rune Bublik is quite exciting. I'm not saying it'll be competitive, but we've got two of the most combustious characters on the tour. Is that fair, Damian? To be at least it might not be competitive. It might be 6-3, 6-1 in favor of the Dane. But yeah, there's something very intriguing about this match. No.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's like the one that is going to be very attractive, probably visually, if aesthetically, if Bublik is there mentally. And with Bublik, you never really know. He could beat Rune, and like no one would even probably pay another look to it because, well, he does have that ability, right? And he does even on clay. He was a quarterfinalist at Madrid before, I think, 2000 something. And yeah, if he's gonna do it in any conditions, in any on any clay court, probably it's gonna be Madrid. Ghosty was also asking, please explain to me why Madrid is considered high altitude. It's only, yeah, like it's not considered high altitude. I don't know if maybe
I think
one
in
of us
tennis
said it
terms,
or maybe
Damien.
someone.
I think in
No, no,
tennis
no, no,
terms,
no.
Damien. No?
No. When there's a calendar on the new ATP 2023-2024 calendar, there's also a challenger section with the Mexican events there, and some of them are actually like it's mentioned next to the event that it's high altitude, and it's about all these Mexican, 18,000 meters, 2,000 meters. Like Leon, like Morelos, like Mexico City this year, and also San Luis Potosi. So yeah, Madrid. There was also a challenger in Madrid a couple weeks back. It's not considered high altitude. I don't know if
But
one of us used that
a
phrase. Or...
1,000? Is there a 1,000 event higher in
Of course
altitude?
not. I mean, I'm not even sure there's a 250 higher. I mean, there's definitely Gstaad and Kitzbühel, which are probably similar. And other than that, there was Quito, which was, of course, Quito was on high altitude. But Quito was on high altitude. But Madrid is probably like similar to Gstaad, Kitzbühel, and John is Kitzbühel, or I don't know. Sorry, I cannot read German. John is right that a lot of people are calling Madrid high altitude. Yeah, then they should go to Mexico. And most of them in fact don't, because it's just crazy conditions. The balls are flying everywhere, and well, that's why most of them skip it. Or the ones that are in Madrid, most of them aren't just going to play a challenger in Mexico, but I mean even challenger players that aren't really keen to go there usually, unless
Felix
you're like a huge server, that's gonna want that.
Felix gets his campaign underway tomorrow against Lajovic beating Kubler. But really, this is probably the little mini section of three players I want to speak about.
Don't
Because
think that's tomorrow, is it? Yeah, I think that.
is Felix not tomorrow?
Yeah, because Lajovic played today, so
Are you okay? So they're not even playing. So he's not playing till Saturday.
yeah.
Okay. So we've not had any round twos yet on the men's side. We've had round twos on the women's side, but not on the men's. I think that's where we're at.
Tomorrow there's gonna be half of round 2 on the men's side.
Got it. Got it.
And well,
little mini
also half
section.
of round 2 for the women's, but of course the half that hasn't been done yet. Yeah.
Exactly. Little mini section here of three players, which I think is notable for a various bunch of reasons, because of comments that we've made. Well, no, pretty much entirely because of comments we've been making in the last 48 to 72 hours. Let's begin with Ben Shelton. He gets his campaign under tomorrow. And I said that Ben will have a win-loss record. We'll get to maybe whether that will be enhanced or helped, maybe is the proper word, tomorrow. But let's begin with our lucky boy Struff, because you suggested a couple of days ago that maybe he switched off knowing that he was one of the top lucky losers, and therefore would end up going through anyway, because of course he lost. Who did he lose to in qualifying?
Karatsev.
Did he play today? Karatsev?
Yeah, he beat Jere.
Oh, good. The reason I'm saying good is not because I dislike Cheryl. I'm just saying that would be a waste of it would be so bizarre that Karatsev would beat Struff in qualifying, and then he goes out in the first round, and Struff, by the way, says, "See you later." As he goes, Struff comes. Imagine like basically paying for your dinner, and then someone basically just steals it, and everyone lauds you and go, "Yeah, off you go," because that would be like it would be if Karatsev had gone out and Struff had lost, and yet would be in round 2. That would just be bizarre.
Yeah, speaking of Struff, I fully think he's beating Shelton in today's time. I guess it will also be, and yeah, just seems like he definitely had a bad one, or as he said, as I said 2 days ago,
Switched off. Yeah, not
maybe
me.
he
Yeah.
switched off a bit, and just didn't really make sense for him, given the fact that he knew he was very likely to get a lucky loser spot. In fact, even today we had Carreño Busta withdrawing, and Altmaier will be in the second round already. But yeah, Struff has to be the favorite over Shelton on clay, 100%. And I am pretty selfish also in wanting this. Well, it's not an upset; it's only an upset by the ranking, of course, to happen because I hope that Shelton will be in Cagliari, and if he beats Struff, then I don't think he can play. So. I am definitely hoping to see Shelton and Cagliari, so that's why I really want Struff to win tomorrow. Well, in today's time, I suppose. Also, Ashley.
Go. Who's Ashley?
Ashley said something about Auger-Aliassime playing Lajovic, and hopefully that the Canadian serve will help in Madrid. I have a very good feeling about Auger-Aliassime in this event. Of course, we haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, just the fact that he had a lot of time to prepare, which of course he could be rusty, but in these conditions in Madrid, with the sort of draw that he has outside of Lajovic maybe, but I don't think, Lajovic's form is suddenly just going to be insane. The only real problem that I see in his draw, the players next to him, even maybe the two sections that are next to each other, is Struff. I absolutely loved Auger-Aliassime's draw before Struff came along, but now if they play in the third round, who knows? But of course, yeah, they both need to get there first. But Madrid is definitely a pretty good event for Auger-Aliassime compared to all other clay tournaments.
Can you guess what the head-to-head is between Felix and Dusan Lajovic?
I mean, it's on the screen, so.
It's already on the screen. I didn't even know it was already there.
I should have just said too low.
You could have just said 2-0. Yeah, that would have been oh, very good. Yeah.
Struff is not a lefty, Ashley. No. Ghosty already responded to that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Struff. Yeah, he walked past me today. I've just spent about 30 seconds as well having a quick look to see who his doubles partner is, but I'm sure it's a German because him and some other German guy that were both carrying bags and rackets walked past me today and chatting German very happily. Let's say it would seem as happy as Germans can sound. Let's say in the bowels of the Madrid stadium. And I just thought, because at that point I had no idea if he'd won or lost. At that point I was like, oh yeah, he's been in singles.
He's not playing doubles in Madrid.
He's not playing doubles. It must be just a fellow German then. Yeah. Must have been just a fellow German he was chatting to. But the other guy had maybe it's just a German guy who knows him and thought, you know what, I'm going to wander around with a bag and rackets, and then people think I'm a doubles player as well. Who knows? Either way, he seemed.
Can you show me the matches between Lajovic and Auger-Aliassime, by the way?
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah,
cannot remember when he lost to him, frankly. So
probably a while ago. I would have thought 2020, and 2021. Okay. Yeah, both on outdoor hard. One in Canada that must have hurt Felix quite a bit, and another one at the ATP Cup in 2020. Both straight sets, and Lajovic is in good form. I mean, can't be in much better form than winning the previous tournament. So yeah. We'll see. But I know what you mean regarding Felix and perhaps a good feeling regarding this tournament, albeit his first one back. Maybe Uncle Tony as well can help a little bit in terms of Madrid, although it's never really helped his nephew much. Okay, let's get back to the draw. Lucky Struff. Ben Shelton. Let's see. This is actually this match in a way is a bit of a. I don't know what to say. It's a John versus Damian. there's a John versus Damian narrative, but certainly that I'm trying to big up Shelton on clay a little bit, and I know you've certainly been a fan of Struff through qualifying this year, and that's understandable given he hadn't lost a match in qualifying until 2 days ago, right?
Yeah, 12 and 1 right now. I mean, I like both, but it's clear that Struff is the sizable favorite in this one. Just kind of unlucky for
Sizable, by the
Shelton
way.
to
He's a sizable
he
character.
I mean, he is simply, and yeah, just kind of unlucky for Struff for Shelton to get this qualifier, or lucky loser, but the same.
Yeah. Okay, so Saunders up against Cashin. It's an all-Argentinian affair. Have I seen that match recently? Have they played each other recently, Cashin and Saunders, or am I imagining it? I just keep saying to myself, all Italian affair, all Argentinian affair, all French affairs. It's a sort of an expression that I keep coming. I keep seeing Argentinians play against each other. I never see an
No,
Argentinian win a
they
tournament.
played at the Australian Open qualifying last year, apparently.
Okay, so no, I'm obviously getting confused then.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't even his brother, perhaps. Saunders, that is. I have no idea if Cashin's brother plays tennis. Tiafoe, good to see him back, of course. I think this is probably his first tournament since winning in the US because he skipped Monte Carlo. Be interesting to see.
He played Barcelona, lost to Russell.
Oh, should have known that. Rusevori, by the way, he's got a nice, easy match tomorrow against Carlos, a young boy called Carlos Aguas, not even 20 yet. So I'm sure we'll see Rusevori in round 3. I think Rusevori tweeted something about it, saying, "Can anybody help me regarding this?"
Got any tips or something
Any
like
tips?
that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll skip Ghosty. We'll skip this one pretty quickly because that doesn't even matter. That result there, because we all know that Jarry was obviously cheated in a match that I didn't even watch. By the way, McDonald losing to Zapata Mirra. All I know about this match is that I saw a clip of McDonald complaining to the umpire quite seriously at one point. I don't know what his beef was, but he was certainly upset about something. Maybe someone in the live chat can let me know what that was. Maybe it was the fact that he was dead.
The better thing was the celebration from Zapata Mirra when he just straight up took off his shirt and even did the handshake without his shirt. I mean, he's got some crazy antics and he's just super fun to watch, I think. Although I would also not be surprised if some people got rubbed the wrong way by that. He is celebrating a round 1 win as if he just won I don't know, Roland Garros. But for me, I like it. I think he's just a very passionate, but also at the same time very humble guy. So I think that's a very good combo. Jake says Evans versus Zapata, tag me in, guys. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Theoretically, I remember saying somewhere as well. I can't remember which stream it was. Maybe this channel, maybe something else. But I remember saying somewhere that Evans also has a very good draw. Do I still think he has to beat Zapata Miralles? I don't know, but the past couple of editions he did very well in Madrid, and of course he's coming off that nice run in Barcelona as well. Last 2 times he played Madrid he went to the 3rd round, which back then was like the 4th round right now.
Yeah, Dan Evans is always a bit of a tricky one, I think, to predict. I never quite know which surface, which moment Dan Evans is going to produce. I didn't expect him in a million years to be. I think it was Cerundolo in Barcelona last week in the quarters, and yet there he was up against Alcaraz. He broke serve on for Alcaraz, although that's not the biggest thing in the world. And I thought, oh, hello, maybe this second set's going to get interesting in it. And it didn't. And I never even know which of the clay court events. I mean, he's had good performances in Monte Carlo and Barcelona now, and maybe, who knows, in Madrid this year. But as they've been saying in the live chat, that is going to be exciting. Regarding your point about celebrations, I don't really have a problem with anything. I mean, I get it if you're Djokovic against number 150 in the world and it's 6-love 4-1. And you've saved a break point, for example. But I don't think we do see that. I've never seen that. We see Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal and so on and so forth celebrate big moments in matches against the world number 150 when they're under pressure, because they've happened. These moments have happened. We've seen Rafa lose at Wimbledon a few times to players outside the top 100. So I get that. But I saw people criticizing Carlos recently for celebrating.
Yeah. That
But I
was
thought
at
they were
Miami, right?
Miami, but I
I
thought they were
think
quite
he
big
played
points.
Bagnis, maybe, right? What was it, Bagnis?
Yeah,
I think it was because he bageled him in the opening set, and then it was like 2-all in the
that's
second.
right, 2
And
all.
yeah,
So
there was this guy. I don't know if I want to call him out by his name, but there's a guy who has a podcast, and
yeah, I know who
as
you
much
mean.
as I really think he's a good interviewer,
Yeah,
his opinions sometimes can again really rub me the wrong way.
me
And
too. Yeah,
he posted a clip where it was just Carlos, I don't know, just clenching his fists, and that was
yeah,
really all. And he was saying that, at 19, why is he doing it at 19? And it's six love to all. What is that? I mean, should he just be, I don't know, not composed at all? Like, should he just have fun and like totally go away mentally? I mean, he respects his opponent and he's playing him, just like as if he was playing, Djokovic or Nadal. Like, I actually thought it was, the other way around. But yeah, Ghosty is very right that tennis fans are definitely very soft.
yeah. And to be honest with you, if I was playing Carlos Alcaraz and I was 2 all in the second set and he went ballistic over a point he'd won, I'd be going, I'm quite pleased that he's celebrating in a big way. I mean, and also one other final point on this is that Carlos himself said last week that actually I was expecting a slightly different answer when I asked him about what he's improved upon over the last 12 months, particularly regarding the 2 Barcelona tournaments where it was a lot closer last year in him winning the title, dropping 3 sets on the way, and a few tight moments. I expect him to just say, well, I'm serving better and the return is a bit better. And I expect him to talk about parts of his game that had improved. And he just said it's concentration. And that's an example of it where you're still so much in the moment. You're so much in the point. Okay, I'm sure you're aware that you're set up, but whether you could have won the first set 7-6 or 6-love. And effectively in tennis terms, it's the same, so you're still 2 all in the second set. So you're still, could lose the second set, and then who knows? And he mentioned that his focus and his concentration was there. And when he was up against Tsitsipas in particular in the final, he just said, I didn't let go of the grip that I had on that. Whereas a year ago, I did it a few times when I was up 4-1, 4-2 in, for example, second sets where I let that go because my concentration went. So yeah, I thought that was a bizarre take that could only be somebody looking for tweets and retweets and comments regarding that. Okay. Zapata Morales, anyway, has been on my screen against Dan Evans. Look forward to that. I don't know what McDonald's beef was, but maybe someone in the live cat chat can let us know and I'll come back. I was going to say live cat. I think I did say live cat, but that's the red wine speaking. Baez, our good friend Jethro's favorite, up against Giron. I actually watched one of Giron's matches on TV in Munich last week, and I was pleasantly surprised or impressed by the fact that he emerged from his first round match. I forget who it was against now, but basically, I know it was a 3-set match as well against a Spaniard, but I can't remember who right now. And I was watching the first Yeah, okay. I was watching the first 3 or 4 games, and Baena was just pushing him left and right and left and right. And I was thinking, well, this is going to be done. And I think Giron might have lost the first set or somehow won the first set. I think he somehow won the first set, then lost the second set. And I thought, well, this is just going to be done now. And Giron managed to cling on. In fact, I think he got to the quarterfinals in Munich.
Yeah, he lost to like who? Oh, who was it? Like Botic van de Zandschulp or something like that, right? Yeah.
He also has
He went
quite an
pretty
old school. He has an old school outfit, almost as if he's sort of he's like a guy who's ready to play rugby. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't see. Maybe he's got a brand on there, but I don't see it anywhere. But it's like he's just been down to an H&M store and grabbed what he could before going on the tennis court, which I think is kind of cool. Not H&M, but just wearing whatever. Anyway, any other thoughts on Baez against Giron before I move on?
Not really, yeah. Giron is definitely just producing some weird results on clay. Last year he went like 3-9, I think, and now he already has more wins than in his whole 2022 clay campaign, which never really makes sense. But I still don't buy Baez as like a consistent force and favorite that's gonna that's definitely gonna go deep here. So I think it's definitely quite a tricky match for him. I think earlier also Josh was wondering if Fields was going to be any good. He's going to be fantastic. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, nice. Dominic Thiem beating Edmund today. That was another match that I didn't see, but I got an alert on my phone saying, anyone want to speak to Carl Edmund? And I was thinking, what? And I rushed to my laptop to see if Carl Edmund, because that normally means that ex-player, 90% of the players that are in the WhatsApp group that are up for speaking, normally means that they have won, let's say. So I was like, what? And I actually didn't even, this shows what I'm thinking. I Googled Team's name, Team in Google, rather than Edmund, who was, anyway, and it was like, okay, Team did win. I didn't see the match, so I don't know. But I tell you what, this, of course, second round clash, which I think is tomorrow, I think. Am I right on that? Or is it the day after? I think it's tomorrow, Friday.
They played today, right? So
yeah, it's Team did, yeah, but I still think it's Friday, but maybe
No, it's not. I mean, if you play today, you're not playing on tomorrow.
Okay. So in which case
we're
then?
Yeah, we're already after midnight, at least our time and Madrid time as well. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, Central European time. Anyway, that's still very. I think I know your answer to this, Damien. Am I being silly for being excited about that match?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a few like these, like this year already, right? Where team plays a big name and people think that it's gonna be a great match, like against Rublev at the Australian Open, for example, against Runa in Monte Carlo. I don't buy it. I want to see it first, but I still don't really buy it. I read some stats today on his forehand RPMs being a bit better. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I believe it when I see it. It's not a very Christian way of doing stuff. Thankfully, I'm no Christian. So, and also Kyle Edmund, by the way, fun stat. He in April this year, of course, he played basically on every single level of competition. He played an ITF 25K. He played the Challenger. He played an ATP 250, and he played an ATP 1000.
He didn't play an ATP 500 though. I guess it's 4 weeks.
Yeah, but basically couldn't do that. I think when it was Barcelona, he was in Munich, and there were no other 500s, right? Because in the week of Estoril,
by the way, I watched some of that match in his first round. I think he went 3 sets, and it was kind of interesting. Anyway,
he played Hessler,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, who's decent, let's say. So and I thought that was quite interesting. Pity he couldn't, for his perspective, couldn't see the match through. But anyway, team against Tsitsipas, I'm still excited by it, and I imagine that they'll probably, as long as the Alcaraz isn't playing that day, which of course he won't, because I think he is definitely playing on Friday, they'll find a decent spot on Manolo Santana Stadium. I think I'm saying that right. Which is the main one in Madrid. By the way, the stadium setup here, I don't know if you're aware, Damien, I certainly wasn't, that it's honestly that I have got lost. I haven't been lost once. I've been lost 1,000 times in and around the stadium complex, trying to find things, trying to find where I'm going, because it's really unique, weird, cool, and surreal all at the same time. You've got the main stadium, the Manuel Santana Stadium. You've got this Arantxa Sanchez Vicario Stadium, and they're kind of adjacent to each other, but they're both in the same complex, if you like, albeit that the ends are kind of open, if that makes sense. Although I imagine that in winter it's probably a concert location, so I guess that those ends will be closed off. Then you've got the courts 3 to 10, I guess it is, or something like that, that are outside and whatever. But the fact that you've got 2 stadiums kind of within a complex, and also the media centers, it's all in one sort of purpose-built arena. Very strange. I don't know if I'm making any sense here. I think really you have to be there to get it. Am I? Were you aware of this? I mean, it's like being in a shopping center. It's like being in a shopping center, and you go out of. I've mentioned H&M already. I should probably mention Zara. You walk out of Zara. We're in Madrid, so I should probably mention Zara, although they are, I think, originally from Galicia in the north. But you walk out of Zara, and that's Manolo Santana. Excuse me, and Manolo Santana. But and then you walk into another high street store, and one is, you're just walking out of one in Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. It's really surreal, weird.
Yeah, it's impossible to understand anything out of this. Yeah, we would just have to see like a graph of where
Yeah.
the
This
stadiums are
is the
located or
worst
something.
5 minutes in YouTube history, I think, which I've just gone through there because no one understands anything, and I completely understand it.
It was
By the
fine.
way,
And also,
let-
yeah,
go on.
just wanted, Ghosty was asking, it wasn't an article about forehand RPMs. I don't think many of them exist, but if they did, and some of them do, I would definitely read them. Yeah, but it was just something on Twitter, some stats people were posting.
Yeah, and it's interesting in terms of some of the conversations we've been having recently because you or even you and not Dominic Thiem directly, but indirectly, you were questioning his comments about the fact that he felt he was getting more zip off his forehand recently.
Yeah. There's a darts player, Peter Wright, who he hasn't had any major injuries, but recently he actually did exactly the same thing as Thiem. He's trying to come back to his previous form. He's won like 2 of the last 5 world championships, I think, and he's trying
You're
to get
talking
back to
darts
that.
here, right, Damien? Right,
Yeah,
darts.
and
I mean,
he's like trying to.
do
Mhm.
people get injured playing darts?
Yeah, sometimes they do. Like shoulder injuries, for example, definitely can be.
Sorry, Damien. I have got to send you a link, and I can't. I won't post it right now in the live chat, but people out there, you can soon find it, and you can find it's. I think it's called the not the 9 o'clock news show. So it's a lot to remember, I know, but I'll send you the link later. And it's all about darts in the 70s in the UK, and it's just you. I think you see these 2 rather large British guys going. And he's going for the double vodka, and he just picks up a double vodka and downs it. And then he's just gone for the single pint of lager, and they just pick up various drinks off the drinks table. I can see how you would get injured that way, but I'm shocked that you can get injured playing darts, Damien.
I mean, have you ever thrown any darts?
Yeah, very badly. Very,
Yeah,
very
but
bad.
like even if you throw for like, I don't know, 15 minutes, you're gonna your arm is gonna there's gonna be some pain on the next day. So anyway, the point I was trying to make was that he's trying to get back to his previous form, so somewhat like
Oh, yeah.
Dominic Thiem, even though there
Yeah.
were like no major injuries involved. And then he randomly like plays a very good match, and he goes out to I don't know, it wasn't really like a press conference. They most often just interview them on the stage, and he's like, yeah, I'm finally back, I'm so excited that I'm back to my previous level. And then in the next game he just throws a complete stinker, right? And yeah, he just reminds me of Dominic Thiem in that way.
One or 2 people, and well, Ghosty in particular is loving some of the darts comments. There was a comment in the live chat I think I wanted to address, but just Manchester Sanchez Vicario. Yeah, funny enough, I tweeted about her today. I think it was just a coincidence, the fact that we mentioned her a minute ago in the tweet, because I was just looking at the last 8 players at the Wimbledon 93, and she wasn't in amongst those 8, and she was really. But I put an asterisk by incredible how she didn't make the last 8. But I put an asterisk because I knew that someone on Twitter was going to say, "Oh, but she was a clay court specialist." Not at all. She was amazing on grass. But I digress. Let's get back to 2023 and a quick look at the remainder of the men's draw in the bottom half, or the bottom part. Garin is on the horizon here. I should probably share my screen. Garin, by the way, it's funny enough, is someone as well who's had good results on grass, but I think that's more through luck than judgment. He's up against Kecmanovic. Oh, are you pumped for that? That's exciting, though.
I think he'll win. I think he's got a very serious chance. The past couple of months he's been excellent. I also don't think his grass results are that much of an accident. Like he's even had
Okay.
a Paris ATP 1000 round 3 before. For a clay court specialist, he just plays very flat actually, and on serve and on return he's really good. So yeah, I think he's got a chance for a run here really. And Kecmanovic is just not someone that not someone who goes above a certain level, let's say, not below, but well, both below and above, I suppose, most of the time.
I asked Christian Garin last year at Wimbledon. I said, "Are there any grass courts in Chile?" And he went, "Nah, none." But nevertheless, I suggested that his grass form was a bit fortunate last year, because he was due to play Berrettini in the first round. Berrettini at the last moment, doesn't play because of COVID. And then he gets Berrettini's run, which means he ends up getting to the quarterfinals, I think. Anyway, Zhang beating Rodionov. Any comments on that match from today? That was all, at least.
He served pretty well. It was always going to be like a 50-50. And I really want to see him against Shapovalov. He's had such a terrible year. And getting a win like that would just be extremely important. Of course, this is already big, first ATP 1000 win. But, it would be something else to beat Shapovalov, even if the Canadian might be somewhat vulnerable.
Somewhat, yeah. It's a masterpiece of understatement. De Minaur, Cecchinato. Oh, by the way, I Fucsovics also walked past me today, and I thought, that's an interesting match. I couldn't watch the match between Fucsovics and Cecchinato, but I thought it would be an interesting match, and really, I think I had Cecchinato to emerge the winner. He did win, but does that make sense that Cecchinato beat Fucsovics today?
We're talking of two very evenly matched players, right? So whatever the result in that would be, like it would have to be a double bagel for me to say that that it was nothing. You skipped by one match though, which I think will have a big upset in it, which is a bit lower down, and a bit lower down again, and here, a bit towards the top now. No,
you mean Karatsev?
No. One more.
De Minaur, Cecchinato?
No, one more.
Oh, Norrie? You got Watanabe to beat Norrie?
Yes. Yes. Hear me out, Watanabe against Norrie. Madrid, clay, faster conditions. He has been excellent since the qualifying began. Kotov, Delbonis, now Mute. Of course, Mute's first match since the Australian Open. But honestly, he was just, he was net rushing so much. He was playing his tennis just as he usually does on hard courts, which honestly is just so unique. And you gotta have unbelievable timing to even pull it off. And of course, it has a big consistency drawback, let's say that. He's never going to be a top player, but I think he will be a nightmare to face for top players. And I think he's got a super, super serious chance to beat Cam Norrie. I like how animated Damon gets. I'm like this animated when there's like an upset pick, when there's something that I know people will hear and like, what are you talking about? And then then I'm excited to, as you said, make my case. And Norrie, the past couple of weeks, a couple of losses, basically even since I would say the when he won Rio over Alcaraz. Since then, he hasn't really done anything of note. I think he's going to be very vulnerable in this one, especially against someone who has already played 3 matches here and is generally a nightmare for top seeds. Honestly, even in like Geneva or Lyon, I can't remember which one of them, Watanabe was in the quarters last year, so it's not like he's useless on clay. In Madrid, it's like barely clay in some ways. So I am super excited for this one. Hope he can do at least as good as he did against Tiafoe in Miami, where obviously he was very, very close to win. And that's my that's my huge upset pick for the day. And hopefully it's going to be like a 5-head prediction, not a 0-head prediction, if anyone's ever said that.
There's only one type of Damian that is more animated and more peaked and more excited than him sensing and smelling an upset. It's when he's been proven correct about said upset. That's the only time that he gets more animated. It's like, I told you. You go smart.
Have I ever done that? Have I ever done that? Really?
Oh, I'm sure.
Could you name one match?
Yeah. I can hear the words. See, I told you so about Stefanos Tsitsipas. I can't even remember what the argument was specifically, but I remember you going. See, there was something, and I've heard this a few times, let's say, not many, but a few times when you've listen, I feel really good as well when listen, if I guarantee you, if Ben Shelton has a 51.8 win-loss percentage record at the end of the clay court season. And by the way, I've got 2 moments that I can call this. I can go into the grass court season by saying stop the count, or I can see if he continues to play clay in July, and I'll take whichever one suits my argument best.
He's not going to play clay in July.
No, I wouldn't have thought so either. You're right. By the way, Josh here is getting excited about Rune Alcaraz. Yes, me too. I actually found that potential matchup, which I think is going to be a semi-final potential thing. And to be honest with you, I try not to get too excited because these things could be much further away. But I must say, I did have that in my predictions and found that quite a difficult one to call, but mainly because it's in Madrid. I know Alcaraz won last year. Oh, by the way, Damian, I had a moment today where on a screen they were showing 5 or 6 of the best points from Alcaraz Djokovic last year. And by the way, they could have chosen anything from around about a dozen or more, I know. But Djokovic, Alcaraz last year, I knew the result. I'm just watching a few little clips on a small screen in Madrid, and I'm like going, wow, that was just insane. If Rune and Alcaraz do meet and they could produce anything half as good as that, that would be amazing. But that's yesteryear. Let's get back to the present. Okay, Botic against Karatsev, that could be cool. Lehetska, friend, your good friend Lehetska's there up against Shevchenko. If I'm skipping over anything, we've already talked about Murray and stuff, and so I think we're done on that. All right, cool. Let's get to the women, because I've certainly got a few things to say, and I know you have as well, Damian, regarding the women in the singles. Swiatek gets her tournament, I think, underway tomorrow. She's changed her racket's tension, but she's not the only person who said that. Coco Gauff has done the same. I think they're going for tighter. Both players have gone for a tighter tension for one reason or another. I think in terms of the way the ball is just flinging off the racket, and that is that. Tatiana Maria winning comfortably and also won a title recently. I think she's got a nice second round draw, which means a potential third round. That's
a nice second round draw. I don't agree with that. No, I mean, Bernarda Pera is just so good on clay, especially with that huge lefty forehand. I don't know. I mean, Maria, it's always hard to say like who's gonna be vulnerable to her slice and dice game.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I think Pera is just an excellent clay courter and probably smart enough to outplay her. But we'll
Fair
see.
enough. I just thought perhaps there were worse second rounds to come up against.
I mean, definitely there are worse. I think Pera is like a top 20 player in clay, though. I would say.
By the way, look at this is a weird result. I always think it's unusual when you see a 6-love in a result and it ends up going 3 sets. McNally came back from 4-6, losing the first set to win the second set 6-love, and then 6-3. Elise Cornet winning today in 3 sets. Is this the last year we see her on tour? She told us last year that she was going to be retiring. I think she actually suggested the French Open, but didn't happen for whatever reason. And she's still on the tour. But fair enough. She's off tomorrow. Krejcikova, who I think I predicted.
Your favorite?
I think I predicted her to win the tournament. I think.
Again? Jeez.
I know you say again, but I think I've done it. I think I had her in the final in Australia, and she didn't make it. I had her to win the WTA 1000 in Dubai, and she did. And this is the first time I predicted her to win a tournament since. And I think I've got her winning. I'm just trying to remember. I'm doing a million things at once. But yes, yeah. I don't know. It was tricky. Obviously, Swiatek as well, and Sabalenka. Although Sabalenka, I don't know. She looked a bit ropey at times today. Anyway, there we go. Andreescu gets her campaign underway. Laura Siegemund. I watched her match against Podoroska the other day. It was really exciting because it was a tennis match that you had no idea which way it was going until the last point. And I think that's the best kind of tennis match, because there's sometimes when you're looking at Rafa or Novak, for example, struggling, or to some extent Swiatek, although I think there's a bit of a different narrative there, and you still know ultimately, or probably how it's going to go. But with this match, you just didn't know. There were so many breaks of serve. There were so many times when Sigmund had advantages and let them go. And I thought, once you have the advantage, you're going to struggle. But she's through, and she has been in a quarterfinal before. I'm actually quite interested to see how she gets on against Martic tomorrow. I remember Martic having a reasonable run at Wimbledon last year. I think she beat Pegula in about the third round. So that'll be interesting. Is Martic, what's her clay court pedigree? Do you know?
Oh, she's excellent on clay. I mean, she has had results on every surface, but like she has so much variety, and I feel like clay just allows her to use that wide repertoire, which honestly goes for Ziegenmund as well, right? I think that this will be a very enjoyable match for sure, just in terms of the being fun to watch.
I know there's
They're
something
both very
you want to.
skillful.
I know there's some, I know. And by the way, Ziegenmund, very aggressive against Podoroska. I mean, maybe I've not really watched her play often enough to know, but just hitting the absolute living daylights out of every single ball was a sight to behold, and the absolute joy of screaming in a big way when she won that match was a sight to behold. By the way, I know there's something you want to say about the women's side, so I'm guessing I haven't skipped over it as yet.
No.
Okay, you're waiting.
I mean, I don't want to say it, but Ghosty is going to hold me accountable. So
yeah. So good. I haven't looked at the live chat in the last couple of minutes, so I'll get to that in a minute. Pegula, by the way, I've got it in my semis, but that's because the draw. Again, the draw is a bit. I think it was Indian Wells where she ended up getting to the semis, and I think I had her there as well, or it might be Miami or even both. And it was just like, yeah, but I don't know if I would normally be that big on Pegula. On clay, and she's decent on clay. I'm not saying, but she's not in my top.
Last year.
Yeah, right. But she's not in my top. She wasn't in my top 4 favorites for any of the last 3 or 4 big tournaments, and yet she was getting there. But I just had her there. That's what when you do your picks and blah, 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 and then suddenly you've got, let's say you got Coco Gauff in the semifinals, but you don't really think Coco Gauff is a contender for the title. Well, that's clearly where the draw has sort of panned out, and yeah, maybe she'll prove me wrong. But oh, by the way, I spoke to I know I'm going off a tangent here, but I want to get off my chest. I spoke to Caroline Garcia the other day about, and I want to ask you because maybe you've heard it, or not the interview, but I mean in general. I said to Caroline, I said, you're famous for your return of serve, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I still wanted to ask it, and I wanted to ask it because actually I've never heard anyone actually ask it to her. And I said, look, do you ever think about mixing it up? Do you think about changing? And she said it in a jokey way. She was very relaxed. She wasn't like annoyed or anything, but she said, oh, you're about 2 years late on this. And I said, oh, sorry, I'm a newbie. What I meant was I'm a newbie to the press environment. And she said, I'm a newbie too. I don't know what that meant, but I think she just whatever. But I haven't heard anyone ask her. I know it's been talked about. It's been talked
about what?
About the return position on serve.
No, I mean I remember her saying last year that during basically like a couple of years back she wasn't always standing like that. And I remember her talking last year about just, more wins, giving her more confidence to stick with it. And I remember someone asking her about like whether there's any hesitation sometimes, whether there's any doubts whether she should maybe change something. Sometimes I think she should, but I remember some quotes from her last year. Of course, last year there were a lot of Garcia quotes because, well, she had the best year of her career, basically, outside of that back-to-back WTA 1000 titles stretch in 18 or 17. But yeah, I remember some questions about it. I actually could have asked one of them myself in Warsaw last year, but I left just before the final because I figured I just had a better train connection. So I actually did not.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyway, I certainly didn't want to irk her, but I just hadn't heard. And she said she probably did about 50% of what you've just said, but she did elaborate a bit more by basically just saying she doesn't know any other way. Fair enough. And I was really pleased with that response because it told me something, but I just hadn't heard somebody ask her before. Maybe they have, and certainly perhaps in French. But I know it's one of these things that it's a bit like Coco Gauff's forehand in a way, that it's something that's spoken about all the time in press circles. But I don't find many people, including myself, because I thought about it today, and in the end I elected not to. I don't mind many people sort of saying, hey, by the way, the other day, Renee Stubbs said this about your forehand, and this is what you think she... But I didn't want to do that either. I didn't want to sort of, I didn't want to be antagonistic, if you like, and I get that. Anyway, Caroline Garcia, she won today against Putintseva in straight sets, so that's far more important for her, and I'm really pleased about that. I've skipped over quite a few things here on the women's side. Unless there's anything else. Pavlyuchenkova winning her first match in 15 months, or at least first main draw win in 15 months in the singles yesterday. That was a crazy match. I got the impression only, that it was crazy, but it should never have been, because she was a breakup in both the second and third set. And it didn't alleviate probably any concerns about where she is now compared to 2 years ago. You reacted too, so maybe you've got something to say as well.
No. I did not watch it. I was just like, my reaction was because he said that it was her first win, and I remembered her having a win at least. Like she played a few ITFs where she won matches,
Yeah.
so that was my reaction.
I see.
Reason, so.
Bouchard, by the way. Honestly, I know she lost the first set yesterday, but I think she was up 3-love with one break, and she was love 30 on the last Yastremska's serve. The next thing I know, it's like 4-all, or maybe even 5-4 to Yastremska, and I'm thinking, what happened there? And then the last two sets reverted to the norm, and Bouchard, who's hitting the absolute living daylights as well out of the ball, is through to play Trevisan. So that's also a very interesting match. And listen, I mean, she's playing amazingly. And of course, she's now played 3 matches with 2 qualifiers. So, just quickly on Rebecca, I'd like to know if you agree or disagree.
No, just there was a question from wondering from Max in the chat, and a couple of minutes back. I wonder if John and Damian or the chat thinks if Jenny Bouchard can win versus Trevisan tomorrow.
Yes.
Which I think the sort of obvious answer is yes, absolutely. I mean, Trevisan.
I'd say it's 50-50.
Really, yeah. I wouldn't say so. Like for me, Bouchard is probably the favorite here. Just playing like that, having another huge run in Madrid, and also the fact that Trevisan just retired in Stuttgart to Haddad Maia. So who knows how she if she's gonna be fully fit. I also see that Bouchard has deleted her tweet from today, right?
Oh, what did she tweet?
You haven't seen it? Oh Jesus, we need to talk about it then. Let me find if I can. Okay, I have a screenshot, thankfully.
Great.
She basically
can you send it to me in a private message, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the tweet is insane.
Send it to me in a private message. I'll have a quick look, and then I'll see if it's worth posting on our screen.
It is. Absolutely, it is. Like I already can tell you that it is. I got the screenshot sent to you. It absolutely is worth showing. It's worth talking about, and there's a lot.
I'm going to show it. I mean, I was just thinking actually more from a legal perspective than.
It's absolutely fine, but
I'll just take it off. I'm not taking it off because of concerns or anything. I just want to make sure that we get it clear on the screen.
Yeah, I know.
I see what she's. Okay, yeah. I'll get it back on the screen in a second. So be patient, everyone. But yeah, tell us your thoughts on this. And
she basically posted a photo of herself from her match today, and said that something along the lines of playing dopers in Madrid, something like that. What's the phrasing of that?
I'll get it again. Here we go. And you'll see it hopefully now. Do you see it now? Yeah. Good.
there's something about playing dopers in Madrid. If someone wants the context, in 2017, Bouchard had that huge run to Madrid's quarterfinals. In the second round, she played Sharapova, and it was like right after Bouchard said something that Sharapova shouldn't be allowed back into the sport or something, and then they meet in Madrid round 2. So it was, of course, pretty huge for her to beat her. She did 6-4 in the third, great match. And she beat her, and it was like a win also because of what she said earlier, also because of the trash talk. And today she played Yastremska, who also had a doping ban. But why this tweet is stupid? Yastremska was cleared of any wrongdoing. Sharapova, to me, she's also like not really a doper. She was taking a substance that was allowed, then of course was disallowed, and but she was like she instantly got banned, right? It was like a month after it was disallowed. She just missed an email or something, which of course is her fault, then she should have been banned. But this is a pretty strong tweet for sure. And just because it's as I said, Yastremska was cleared, it's kind of stupid to me. Anyway,
she deleted it as well, which I don't know.
I'm surprised by that, and honestly disappointed. Like if you're saying something like that, at least have the balls to stick with it. Or maybe,
right. And this is not a spontaneous drunken moment in a bar at 2 a.m. that you immediately regret, or even regret the next day. You've got time to write this. You've probably been thinking about it for a couple of hours. You then decide to put pen to paper, and then you decide to click send, and you're probably thinking about it all the way through. She won as well. I mean, what is going on? You'd think that this is a moment of joy, not. I mean, even the image that she's chosen is not. I don't know. For me, it's odd. I didn't know about this tweet. I'm glad you brought it to my attention, and the fact that she deleted it too. I did see something today which is completely unrelated. I had no idea. Oh, so it was yesterday, I guess, when she won that match. I saw something last night as I was leaving, actually, and I saw her. I don't know a huge amount about her. I know she spent time off in terms of the injury. I knew about the Sharapova thing as well. I know that, of course, she's had good runs in the past. But I saw something yesterday, and I don't know. I just found it a bit. I don't know if it's sad or uncomfortable, or there's a word between the two. And it sums up this. She was signing tennis balls and things for kids as she's sort of walking or in an area where, in a sort of a safe zone for the players, but where a lot of kids and teenagers hang out to sort of try and grab hold of a tennis player and get autographs. And I just looked at her, and she looked like she wanted to be anywhere else but that. Now, of course, she could just walk away and not do it, but she just looked like, she's just doing it. She's just doing it. It's like, it's like when you ask me to do some painting of your wall, Damian, you say, John, I'm bored of this green. I want you to give me a white wall. And you ask me to paint that wall behind you. I'm doing it, but I'm doing it with no enthusiasm whatsoever. And I don't know. She just wanted to be, and she just won a match as well. Perhaps if she'd lost, I'd expect her to be maybe a bit down, but she decides to sign some tennis balls. Well, fine. But I just saw that, and I did have that impression yesterday. I didn't know about the tweet, because this tweet is from today, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's sad. I find it sad on many levels. And as you say, Putintseva was cleared, and you've won a tennis match. Yastremska, sorry. You've won a tennis match, so I don't know. You should be in a good mood. Not this doesn't seem like a good mood to me. But anyway, any final thoughts on that before we move on?
Not really. She also replied to a tweet from Alex, but I don't know. Yeah, I just checked it, and she also deleted it. But it was basically, the tweet was, she also made a reply to one tweet, which was, talking about this. Bouchard is now 2-0 against dopers in Madrid, or something like this, or players with doping bans. I think it was phrased better. And Bouchard replied to this something like, I'm trying, as if she was on a mission of something like that. I cannot remember the exact phrasing. I don't think I have a screenshot of that. But she also deleted it. So, who knows what the reasons were for her deleting it. Maybe you can ask her.
Yeah. No, I tell you what, the mood I'm in, I'm more than happy to ask her, but we'll see if that ever occurs or whether I have the same courage face to face of what I'm having right now chatting to you. But yeah, that's disappointing. Maybe I've got a broader and more diplomatic thing to ask her, but I've certainly got an idea if that ever does occur. But I've actually asked to speak to her already, and this is fine. People are tired and all sorts of things go on, but some people I think are maybe more willing to speak to the press than others, and that's completely fine. That's their prerogative. Anyway, let's get back to the draw. Genie Bouchard is playing really, really well, and she has a hell of a chance of beating Trevisan. That is for sure. Parks Azarenka is quite interesting. I mean, Parks winning in 3 sets. It has a really good indoor court form from this year. I don't know if that says anything about Madrid, and I don't know. I think there's something not really working at the moment for Azarenka post Australia. So who knows? Is that, by the way, was that the tweet thing? Was that the women's thing you want to speak about?
No.
Oh, we still not got to that yet.
Yeah, still haven't.
Okay, so it must be results related. It must be about a result
Yeah,
which made you look good. Yeah.
No, I don't want to speak about this. I'm just saying that they will hold me accountable for what I said. Yeah.
Okay. So, skipping through, of course, we spoke about Pavlyuchenkova. Nice for her to get her first win in 15 months. Coco Gauff is in round 3. I spoke to her today. I'm going to try and get that up before the night is out. There's a interview I have with her. I say me. It was actually myself and someone else as well. We spoke to her today, but I'll be putting that up for members only. The complete interview, although I'll probably put a clip on as a short for everyone to watch and have a look out for. So that's something to look forward to. But I guess you'd expect her to win, albeit against a home favorite today in Murillo Escorihuela. Probably I'm butchering that name. Anyway, Coco Gauff is through, but I still think there are some concerns about her form right now. Badosa, really interesting. I thought that she was basically said, certainly in the Spanish part of her press conference today, she basically said that she's not the same player in Madrid as what she is in Stuttgart or anywhere else. She just can't get loose. And I know she's had a good run in Madrid in the past, but she said she felt so nervous. She was in control of the match, obviously having won the first set. But yeah, I think Badosa is someone that probably with the nerves is not as good as other players. And I think none more so than in Madrid.
Yeah, she also was injured a bit. Like there was something with I don't know, was it her calf or something like this? So
knee or calf? Yeah, well, I remember it got mentioned as well. Rodilla, that's knee. Yeah. So I think it was knee. I think.
Yeah. Is Badosa from Madrid? I'm not sure. Let me check.
She's from Spain, and I know, but but listen, yeah.
I mean, she was born in New York, but
New York, I know, yeah.
So what would that mean? Like for
means a good, wealthy background.
Spanish parents. They moved to Barcelona when she was 7, then Valencia. Yeah, looks like she doesn't really have any Madrid connection.
No, but I mean, you're kind of one of 2 things in Spain. You're either Catalan, well, 3, 4 if you include Galicia, but I think less so. You're either Catalan, Basque, or Spanish. You could be from Seville and you're Madrid orientated. You could be from Malaga. You could be from Santander. All of these. Santander, for example, has a huge palace. Still had a statue of Franco, by the way, until 2010. So there's kind of Madrid and everywhere else, if that makes sense. Or there's everywhere else in Madrid. So certain players, I'm sure, will feel a stronger affiliation with Madrid than others. And I think Badosa, well, at least what she said in her press conference today would suggest that. And it was a very nervy victory today, albeit, as you say, she did have 1 or 2 physical issues. She's going to play Coco Gauff in the next round. So she said she's got a tactic up her sleeve. Of course, she wasn't going to share that in the press conference, but let's see. You'd have Gauff to win that, though, right?
Would I? I mean, if Badosa was fully fit, definitely Badosa. Because of her injury, I'm not sure, but Badosa has all the tools to just put pressure on Goff, especially on these faster Madrid courts. She can attack the forehand like not many others even can on the tour. So, like, it's a great matchup for Badosa, I think. But yeah, just given the physical struggles, I'm not sure about that. But in general, I think Goff is like a perfect opponent for Badosa to me.
Okay. Yes. Just a quick reminder, by the way, I will be posting the full interview with Coco Gauff for members only, which I think at the moment is 4 people. But you can become the 5th one. If there is such a thing as 5th time lucky, then you can be it. Vekic losing to Masarova. That's a result I didn't even know had happened, but there we go. Sakari is through, and that's not a bad draw for her. She might well make it through to round 4, which I think would be a plus in terms of her current form. Ostapenko, I spoke to her today. I don't think I've posted the interview yet. I think that's a really quick one. So I'll post that as soon as this show finishes. I spoke to her today about a lucky charm that she has, which is a kind of a cuddly toy that she carries in her bag. She was in very good spirits. She won with only losing 3 games, so that certainly helps. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. It was a 1-to-1 interview as well. I asked if she liked talking to the media, and she said depends on the questions, which I think was like. I asked her. I said, "What about my previous question about your second serve today? How was that? Was it a boring one?" Or she said so, or words to that effect, because she won more points on her second serve than her first serve, and I thought that was quite interesting. But anyway, she was like, "Go on."
No. I was just thinking about it. She won she basically blitzed her opponent, right?
Yeah,
like she already crashed her. So
it's an easy,
in matches like that, stats don't really matter at all. So
that's fair, yeah. And also
that's
there
why
are
that's
more.
why I think so is the appropriate answer. But in another match, this would have been a good question. Yeah.
I am paraphrasing, by the way. I think she was kinder than so, but I'll let the world decide as I post it very, very soon. It's a really easy edit, I think. So that'll be posted as soon as this is finished. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and become a member, and you can catch the full Coco Gauff interview. Shelby Rogers in the 3rd round. Okay. Garcia, we've spoken about this. I'm still waiting for you to say ding, 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 because there's something I want to talk about regarding your thoughts on the women's side. Oh, by the way, and this is probably the story of the Madrid Open so far, I would argue. First of all, Leylah Fernandez losing to Andreeva yesterday. Leylah Fernandez is someone I think I had getting to my 4th or quarterfinal. I'm not sure, but yeah, so that's huge because she's very, very good on this surface, I would argue. And of course, the bigger story is the fact that she's 15 years old, her opponent. And I think the biggest and most impressive thing is that she followed it up by beating Haddad Maia. I mean, if these 2 results come from Swiatek in the semi-final and a final of a 500, you'd be going, Swiatek, unbelievable again. Straight sets over her opponent. Fernandez, for example, semi-final 500 makes sense. Haddad Maia 500 final as well. I mean, this is insane results, no?
Sure. I mean, this was the first time she played the top 50 opponent. Then this was the first time she played the top 20 opponent. This year she has only lost once, and it was the Australian Open Juniors final, which was actually absolutely insane. All Russian affair. As you said, you like the all one country. Yeah, Ashley says she's 15 in love. Yeah, she's 15 and 0. That's true if we discount the Australian Open Juniors, where she was runner-up in January. But on the Pro Tour this year, she is 15 and 0. She won back-to-back 60Ks in Switzerland. Also a very good field. Podoroska was, for example, one of the players she beat in one of them. Celine Nav, another like mega talent from Switzerland, but 17. Andreeva is actually going to play her 3rd round match against Linette on her 16th birthday. So she's very close to being 16th. And they're basically like the Andreeva sisters to me are like the Frugvirtovas, but enhanced, at least in terms of the younger sister, because in both pairs, it's the older sister like of course, got there first because she's older, but she seems to be the one with a lot less potential. And Andreeva, compared to both Fruhvirtovas, is just so much more real to me. She actually has some quality on her shots, isn't as consistency based, you know. The mental composure was insane, especially today when she came back from 3-6 in the first set tiebreak, hitting some like basically constantly finding backhands down the line. One of them just clipped the line. Haddad Maia actually thought she was going to win well, she actually thought that she won the opening set, and then the call was overturned. But Andreeva just kept going for her shots no matter what. She has a very good serve actually, which at the age of 15, almost 16, as I said, but it's just insane. And yeah, she just looks like a real talent compared to, like, of course the Fruhvirtovas are still real talents, and I'm not gonna say anything about that. I just mean that she has a very pro-ready game to me, Andreeva, and doesn't seem like she will be like stopping anytime soon. Of course, at this stage of her career, it's very hard to say, like, what sort of what sort of ceiling she could have, but it's definitely not there yet. And I think with her 60K title last week, she actually just earned her top 200 debut, so this is already quite huge for her ranking wise as well. And yeah, extremely exciting, definitely the story of the event. And she looks like the full package, really.
And you're right. Yes, her birthday is Saturday.
29th, yeah.
Yeah. So both her and Carlitos Alcaraz will be celebrating their birthdays in Madrid, as they probably will do every year. Funny enough, Daniel Medvedev was in. Well, he's always an interesting press conference. He was in. He said so. He was talking about Carlos Alcaraz, and of course, there's a lot of questions about Alcaraz and blah blah blah, because obviously being in Madrid. But it was amazing how he remembered Alcaraz's birthday, and it's like, yeah, it's in Madrid every year. He must have remembered the birthday cake thing from a couple of years ago when Alcaraz played Rafa, and maybe there was something last year as well. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny how Daniel Medvedev knows when Carlos Alcaraz's birthday is. Anyway, somebody else who's going to be frequently celebrating their birthday in Madrid during the tournament will be Andreeva. I'm just looking at her Wikipedia page as we speak, and at least according to Wikipedia, so far she's earned $40,000 in prize money, which, of course, if she was 25 or 35, you might be going, well, that's still not bad, but it's not anything. But of course, she's 15, so that I don't know where we are in terms of paying tax, etc. But yes, that is insane. She's going to be playing a certain Polish women's player next in Magda Linette. So that is a third, what's the word? Established. I mean, I guess it's often going to be established compared to her, but it's a third big player that she's coming up against, in terms of the fact that Linette was in the Australian Open semi-finals this year. I mean, if she goes beyond the third round, it would be like, wow, whatever happens after that, whoever she may end up losing to, it'll be like, wow, 3 unbelievable victories for her. And yeah, I can't remember. I mean, I think Martina Hingis was 14 or 15 when she first entered the tour. It could have been 15, and she started beating players like this. And you're like, wow. I mean, she didn't win a Grand Slam for another couple of years, but yeah, let's not put too much pressure on Mirra's shoulders. But 2 very, very impressive wins. Any final thoughts on Andreeva before we move on?
Not really. I mean, I think I've sort of said it all. I'm not really going to predict anything in terms of that Linette match because, well, anytime someone like that has a run, you're like waiting for this to stop. I don't think it has to, but it is very possible. But like today against Haddad Maia, she actually looked like the experienced player rather than the Brazilian. And yeah, very excited to watch another match of Andreeva. Before these two, I think I only saw her in the Australian Open Juniors, so I'm also pretty fresh on the pair, on one of the Andreeva sisters as well. Erika, of course, has been a more consistent presence on the tour the past couple of months.
I think I know the women's comment that you want to make.
Want is
Or
not
not
exactly
want
the
to
word I
make,
would
but
use.
but
Yeah.
I recognize. Is it this?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marketa Vondrousova, who won in straight sets yesterday, I think it was yesterday, came undone against your compatriot Magdalenette. But I'm pretty sure a couple of days ago you were very confident regarding Vondrousova's chances.
Life. I guess I haven't really, maybe I haven't really like fully understood how important the conditions here would be. Like if they play in Rome, and in a couple of weeks, I would probably stand by my prediction for this one. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Venus was 14 when she won first. Capriati was 16 when she won the Olympic
Yeah,
gold, right?
Capriati's
Right,
one.
in recent times. Yeah, Venus is still playing. She was supposed to play on clay somewhere, right? Can't remember
She was
where.
supposed to play in Australia, wasn't she? And she didn't. She
Well,
pulled out.
I mean, yeah, but she played in the Australian swing, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
but
she was
Australian
supposed to.
Open. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she's retired. I think she's going to play Wimbledon. Just a reminder to, or at least plans to, just a reminder as well to make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and become a member, and you can get extra footage from Madrid, but also extra footage that we've done in the past, including a show from Damian and I on Nicolas Jarry, which I'm sure many of you are pumped to see. But listen, a full extended interview with Coco Gauff will be available for members only. So make sure you become a member if you want to.
Yeah, Rome is
the
the event that Venus Williams has received the wildcard for. So
Okay, so she's set to play Rome. Cool.
yeah,
Okay, so Osario goes through the Colombian. Okay, that's nice. Oh, she's going to play Sabalenka. Yeah, Sabalenka was up a break today. She ceded that advantage. I think that's quite a tough first. I often make this mistake. I was going to say first round. By the way, the other day I think I mentioned Monte Carlo. I was talking. I think this was also to Caroline Garcia. Well, it might have been Badosa, but one of the women's players I referenced Monte Carlo in a like everyone. I said everyone talks about Madrid as being the outlier in comparison with Rome and Monte Carlo. And as soon as I said Monte Carlo, I thought, oh god, because of course the women don't play Monte Carlo. But anyway, Sabalenka, yeah, she was in control of the first set. She ceded that advantage. I think she may have been 5-4 down as well, albeit no, she couldn't have been 5-4 down. But I think maybe 4-3 down. I thought, oh, okay, that's a tough first encounter for Sabalenka anyway.
yeah, definitely. But now she gets a slightly easier one. Everyone would love to see Andreeva Sabalenka in the forefront, but of course, there's still quite a long way from that happening. But this would be something, and especially if Andreeva won somehow. But I don't know if I believe in it.
That would be cool, yes. Lynette Sabalenka, of course, would be a repeat of the Australian Open semi-final, and perhaps slightly less exciting, but whatever. But yeah, you're right. Andreeva and Sabalenka, but we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves there. Would be pretty cool. Before we close this show, I just want to get your thoughts as a fellow Pole on Iga Swiatek. It's someone that we've not really mentioned at all during this WTA side. She's up against Grabo and then the winner of Maria and Pera. But more broadly, clay, of course, we know Swiatek's pretty decent record on this surface, but not one in Madrid. She's the favorite, though, for the tournament, right?
Of course. I mean, she played Madrid once in 2021, so it's
but
natural that
I
she
know,
hasn't won it.
But Damien, I'm also saying it because I don't know. I'm also saying it because pretty much every tournament that Rafa ever played on clay, he was the favorite, except one, and it's in Madrid. Madrid does seem to be
the favorite every single time.
What?
He was still the favorite every single
Until
time.
2018, 2019, but I would say the last couple of years, no.
Last year only because he was entering it after an injury, and like if he was entering it last year, I don't know, after Roland Garros, if Madrid was after Roland Garros last year, he would have been the favorite for Madrid.
Okay.
100%.
So
So
my uncertainty over Iga so listen, if this is Rome, Rome was right now, and I'll presume that my thoughts will be the same in a couple of weeks. My conviction over her winning that tournament would be greater than in Madrid. Does that not make sense?
Yeah, but she just won Stuttgart,
Okay.
And that's basically very similar to Madrid in my mind. So after that display of strength, you cannot really go against her, I think. Like who is she gonna lose to? Not Julia Grabher, for sure not. I think probably Tatiana Maria and Bernarda Pera are also a bit outlandish.
Yeah.
Could she possibly lose to someone like, I don't know, I think Zheng is somewhere later.
Zheng.
No, Zheng could be fourth round, right?
Fourth round.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, she just crushed her in Stuttgart, and you could see how big the difference between their movement is. So I don't know. Can that come into play? The fact that simply it will be a bit easier to rush her in Madrid. It can, but I think it has to be a certain quality of opponent to even have a shot. We've just seen Stuttgart where no one could touch her but Pliskova in the opening set, and then that was like literally all she had. So yeah, after Stuttgart, I just cannot really go against her, and I think it would be foolish to do that probably. Can she win Stuttgart, Madrid, Rome, and Roland Garros right now with the 2-week Masters? Maybe she actually can.
I need to check just who I have. I think I have her losing to someone, but I can't remember who.
Krejcikova, probably.
Krejcikova, of course, yeah, in the quarters, yeah. It's a bold prediction. It's a bold prediction, and I understand, but I just think that the argument stands that going to the French Open, she's the favorite. Going into Rome, she's the favorite. But is there more doubt regarding Madrid than the other two upcoming?
You sound like someone who hasn't watched Stuttgart, and I think perhaps that's kind of true because you were in Barcelona. But
yeah,
I think if you watched Stuttgart, you'd be on a different page right now.
That makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. Damian, thank you again for your time. Everyone who's joined us in the live chat as well, it's been great having you all on board for this another epic show. The second one in 3 days. I think Damian and I have covered. Manchester United dropped 2 points this evening after a 2-0 advantage they had at one stage over Spurs. But we're in a pretty good position in the league, so I'm not too downhearted about that, and therefore this show was not cancelled at the last minute. And maybe some of you feel as though Iga Swiatek already has a 2-0. That doesn't even work at all. Why am I doing this, Damian? Why am I trying to compare 2-0 to a tournament that's not even really begun for Iga Swiatek yet?
Because it's almost 2 a.m. I think
it's almost 2 a.m. It may well be the reason. Damian, thanks very much for joining me. And to the rest of you, thanks for stopping by. I'll play off with a little video for us all to remember. You know the drill by now, but here's a reminder. Here we go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.